All right, ladies and gentlemen, yo, peoples, Kyushu92 here, and welcome to yet another One Piece reaction and review, ladies and gentlemen. It's good to see you all. I don't know what to say, you guys. I just want to say thank you for all these years of tuning into me and all the things that I do here on this channel, whether it's the live stream, whether you are only here for me doing One Piece, whether you're only here for me doing My Hero Academia, whether you're only here for me doing my Demon Slayer or solo leveling streams and videos, or whether you're here for my game videos or just everything I do, I just want to say how much I deeply and truly appreciate your viewership and the interaction that I have with you guys. You guys, well, learning how to run this channel for all these years, learning how to interact with people and be more sociable, it's really helped me. It really has. And it's actually helped me with my stage presence as well, because I used to be crazy. I used to be crazy nervous in front of people. But now that I'm here and I'm just broadcasting myself to people, not only in the US, but also internationally in Brazil and Argentina and Algeria and India and all these different places, it's like, wow, I can reach people. So I just want to say thank you. But let's go ahead and get started with this next chapter, because Oda decided to leave us with quite the confusing cliffhanger. And new chapter coming in half an hour. I am looking from Viz. Let me see if the chapter is out on Manga Plus, because it's already 12 and the chapter should be out right now. Even Dominican Republic. Yes! Everywhere, just the amount of people that come from different spots from Germany, and I think I had one one instance where someone from France came in one time. I'm trying to remember. Okay, here it is. Okay, Viz updated. All right, now here's what I'm going to do for this one specifically. I am going to full screen this whole thing, because I know people can get a little bit anxious in chat right now, and I don't want any expectations about what's going to happen. So let's just go and get started with chapter 1008, leader of the Atamayama Thieves Brigade, Ashura Doji. Here we have a reader request. A horse that wants to fly gets turned into a Pegasus with help from Robin. Oh, that's actually really wholesome. By Maicho Caramel. That's actually really wholesome. A horse that wants to fly like birds gets help from Robin, and she grows like wings on its back in order for him to, you know, just enjoy flying. Well, that's something. All right, so in the last chapter, the big bombshell that dropped was that kind of confused me and a lot of people was the Akazaya 9, Kinemon and the rest of them. They all wake up and find themselves healed and, you know, better off than where they were before. And then they're greeted by Odin, of all people. They're greeted by Odin, and it's kind of confusing because we all know Odin to be dead. So it's just that I can't, it's odd how he's here right now. And everyone's all like, Lord Odin! And I'm like, Lord Odin? Didn't you get headshotted by Kaido? People don't survive headshots unless they're Logias. So, I hopefully we get to get that squared away, but let's do this. Treasure repository behind the tower. I don't blame you for being surprised. I've come to the future with the help of Toki's power. It's a long story. There will be time for it later. Really? I've come to the future with the help of Toki's power. I'm sorry, there's no way. I don't know. Do I accept this? Let me just read. And then we'll talk. But Kinemon says, you're alive. Then Nekomamushi says, Lord Odin. And then Kikunojo says, Lord Odin. And then Odin says, there's no time to celebrate our reunion. My apologies for being late. To battle, my friends. Onward to Kaido, whom we failed to vanquish that terrible day. I'm really skeptical. And then Inuarashi says, of course. Then Kawamatsu says, we will join you. Then Izo says, Lord Odin. And then Denjiro is just stricken with tears. But Ashura steps up and he says, not so fast, he's gotta be a fake. And then Kinemon is looking back like, what do you mean, Ashura? He's right here before our eyes. And then Raizo says, remember what Lady Toki said, Kinemon? Huh? And then he thinks back. Mankind, and then Lady Toki says, mankind cannot return to the past. Lady Toki had the power to go into the future, but Lord Odin died that day. If he were to travel to the future, that truth would never have changed. And then Odin unsheaths his sword. And then Kinemon is like, but, and then Ashura says, I know how you feel, but you have to open your eyes, Kinemon. And then he punches Kinemon in the face. And then draws his sword and slashes across the face of Odin that splits open, but no blood comes out. See that? No blood. Yo, were one of you guys right? Is this one of the paintings made by Kanjiro? Because Ashura just cut into Odin's face, but no blood came out. See that? No blood. Ashura! And then Ashura is stabbed straight through by this Odin. Ashura! And then Ashura is huffing and puffing because he literally got stabbed straight through the chest by this sword from this Odin. There. That makes it clear. We all feel the same way. We all wanted it to be him. Then Kawamatsu says, what a devious trick, but who? Then Nekomamushi says, Ashura, it ain't him. His presence, his mannerisms, they belong to no one but Lord Odin. If anyone could recreate them accurately, it would be one of us. So it's you, Kanjuro! Yo, Kikunojo didn't kill him after all. Don't be stupid. I am Odin. Ashura, I'm so sorry. This is my fault. And this is Kikunojo. I failed to finish off Kanjuro for good. Wow, so Kiku didn't have it in them to kill Kanjuro right then and there. They just left him. You had one job, Kiku. But then Ashura says, I don't blame you for going soft. He was our friend. This battle just gets harder by the minute. And then Denjiro is already clashing with Odin right now. Is this only a painting? Where's your real body? Controlling it remotely saps so much strength. Remotely? And I am deeply wounded. I expect I will die in this battle. But I will die having pierced the very heart of the Kozuki clan as Kurozumi Kanjuro! And then it shows, it looks like Kanjuro running through the halls of Onigashima right now. So he's up and about, laughing to himself. And then Denjiro says, Lord Momonosuke's in danger. Then Kawamatsu says, that's right, I remember hearing a voice somewhere. And then one of the Marys, a mouse Mary, is looking at them, saying that Lord Momonosuke was with a Kunoichi. That must be Shinobu! Then we can send a message to warn her! And then this fake Odin opens up his cloak, and there are bombs in his cloak, and he lights it. And everyone notices. And then this Odin drawing clone says, you wouldn't be tasteless enough to hunt down a dying man, would you? I'd be tasteless enough. Stay here and fight with me! And then Ashura gets up and he tackles this fake Odin as these bombs go. No! You know who else did this? Do you know who else did this? We're about to have another Pedro moment. No! But Ashura tackles him and says, "The rest of you, get out of here! Go and stop Kanjuro!" And then with tears in his eyes, Denjiro says, "Thank you, Ashura!" And he tackles the fake Odin outside of a window. And the Odin clone says, "Get off of me, you great big." And then Ashura says, "Never defile Kozuki Odin again." And then there's an explosion. Bruh, why? Why? No, I actually like Ashura Doji. Please tell me this isn't the end of him. Yo, not another Pedro moment. Bruh. Then the explosion starts to take apart the half of the treasure repository that the rest of them are in. And then there's nothing but silence. And then it's just nothing but silence in these panels. Kinemon's looking on. Ashura Doji's sword is there. But we see the outline of his body, and it's kind of charred from here, and he's not moving. Kikunojo's looking stricken. Raizo's looking on with grief. And Kinemon gets up and screams, "Kanjuro!" And Kanjuro is there, and he's just running through the halls. Become Kozuki. Bring down Kozuki, then die. This is the greatest final act. My entire life a beautiful and poignant drama. And then Jack shows up. And Jack just says, "That took longer than I anticipated." And he's in his mammoth form right now. Jack! Going back up. And it's, he trampled over some samurai, and it looks like he trampled over some minks as well getting in there. "I had to break through all these flies, desperate to protect their kings." Then Inuarashi says, "Nekomamushi, Raizo, hurry on ahead." And then Jack says, "You intend to stop me on your own, King of the Day?" Then Inuarashi says, "We're both injured. Sounds fair to me, doesn't it?" Then Inuarashi says, "I don't choose this fight to settle the scores of the past. I choose it to keep you occupied, so that you cannot create any new victims, Jack. Go and protect Lord Momonosuke, my friends." Then Jack says, "You aren't going to see any moons down here." And then Inuarashi says, "Nor is there any poisonous gas, so we'll both have to make do." Then we see, there's a fire in the castle! We have to douse it before it goes out of control! You fools! Your mistake was betraying me, Kaido! Yo! I'll burn it all down! You'll all die here in the sky where there's nowhere to run! Orochi! That was the last mistake you'll ever make. I'll slaughter every last one of you. Orochi is alive. Orochi is alive. Not surprising me, because, come on. You can't introduce a mythical Zoan type user and then kill him without us seeing his special ability. Orochi's alive.
Hear ye, Kurozumi Orochi is still alive. The day breaks, the court resides, peace to all. It is the hour of the Orochi.
Orochi's alive. Not surprised at all. Ain't no way you gonna just behead this man and we don't see what his special Zoan power is, and then that's it. Ain't no way. Knew it. I knew he wasn't dead. I knew it. Every single moment we talked about Orochi in any of my past reflections or in any past chapters that even mentioned Orochi, none of us cemented on the idea that Orochi was dead. This don't surprise me. I about got out from my seat. I'm out my seat. That counts. Even though I didn't go over to my bookshelf or over to the side of my room, I'm out my seat. This counts. But Orochi's back, and Fukuro Kuju is with him. Now we're here with Team Momonosuke. I still got pages to go through. Team Momonosuke! Now you will rest, relax, and stay there, Momonosuke. I'm sorry. I'm much better at controlling it than I used to be. And that's what Momonosuke says. Now, let me read that again, because I said though my inflections were wrong. Now will you relax and stay here, Momonosuke?
I'm sorry. I'm much better at controlling it than I used to be. When I first met Luffy's crew, I turned into a dragon whenever I was surprised or sad.
It really startled me, and this is Momonosuke and Yamato speaking respectively. It really startled me. I wonder if your power works like my father's.
If only I could
turn into a monster like him. It would be such a help to everyone. She says that. She says, if only I could turn into a monster like him. Yet we saw her start to change a little bit before Frankie came in. Like we saw her teeth actually start to grow sharp and shift. So maybe she can turn into something, but probably not on par with Kaido, maybe? I don't know. If only I could turn into a monster like him, it would be such a help to everyone. Speaking of which, I hope Luffy's all right. I want a chance to beat Kaido too, being Odin and all. And then Momonosuke says,
Luffy is greatly weakened, but somehow he's still fine.
And then Shinobu says, that's a relief. Wait, what? How do you know that, Lord Momonosuke? And then Momonosuke says, Wait, how does Momonosuke know that? Excuse me? How does Momonosuke know how Luffy is? And how well he's doing in his current state? How does he know this? I almost looked over that real quick. And now we're at the rooftop of Onigashima, and there's Luffy getting thrown into a nearby wall between Kid and Zoro, with Killer and Law standing out there. And he just hits the wall. And then one of them says, how are we supposed to beat them? And then Kid says, it doesn't feel like our attacks are doing anything. Then Luffy gets back up again, saying, they are working. There's no way all of these hits could have no effect. They're just as human as we are. Gum gum. And it looks like he's either jumping towards Big Mom or Kaido. Now, hold on. I moved my mic in front of my eye because I wanted to cover this panel. And then he says gum gum, and then he immediately gets thrown right back into the same wall. Like, split second. Think before you leap. That's Zoro saying this. I'm amazed he can call them the same species as us. This is Killer saying this. What? So you're just up here? So you're up here just expecting us to lose? No, we're thinking of how to win. Then Law says, we should peel them apart. Then Zoro says, I agree. Then Kid says, with the two of them standing side by side, it just looks like we're in hell. Wow, we finally see the hybrid form of Kaido. Multiple horns, scales all over the rest of his body. He has a long tail, clawed hands. I was actually kind of expecting him to have his face in like a slight snout look, but this is fine. Then Luffy just says, that suits me fine. I've been to hell and back a few times already. It's home territory. And then Kaido just glares at him and says, that's it, Straw Hat. The light never leaves your eyes, does it? Next chapter hits April 4th. Wow. We haven't gotten any breaks from this. Okay. All right. What a chapter. So, now I can open it up and see what all your comments have said. What a chapter. Okay. People thought this was Katarina. How? How would you even get in your head that Katarina Devon was Odin? First of all, Katarina wasn't anywhere near Odin, so there ain't no way you gonna know exactly what he looks like, nor his mannerisms or anything like that. Let me see what you guys have said. Heroic sacrifices are hard, but they're amazing. I love the detail of them not even making the fall all the way out the window to the ground. Kiku's done with half measures on Kanjiro after that, yes. Kanjiro's supposed to be dead, right? Shaking my head. That's because Kiku didn't choose to finish him off then and there. It's One Piece. Fake deaths are the norm. Orochi also comes back to life. We knew that he was alive. Yeah, we kind of did. Inoarashi threatening to make do is awesome. Like, Inoarashi's like, even without the power of the Sulong form of the Minx, he's all like, well, we'll just have to make do, and you don't have any poison or any viruses to hit me with. So let's see where we go from here. Called this years ago. We all knew it. We all did. Pretty sure everyone called this very non-surprising. Yeah, Orochi being back is not surprising. Like, we were just waiting on him to show back up. That's all it is. When is the My Hero Academia stream? Right after this one. We still in Wano. Of course, Orochi's gonna come back to live just to get wrecked later. Maybe she doesn't have conscious control over her transformation. Maybe. Maybe the voice of all things concerning Momonosuke knowing about what's going on with Luffy. Observation Haki, voice of all things. Momo's using the voice of all things he used to listen to Zunisha. Yeah, but that's with Zunisha. I don't know how it applies to just regular human beings, though. Not unless he's using observation Haki. Oda is finally making these two look strong. Like, the fact that Luffy keeps charging in, and every single time he keeps getting slapped right back into the wall. Because in this panel, we see... Here's the thing. I only made note of Kaido's hybrid form here. But Big Mom has Zeus all small in her hand. She's riding on top of Prometheus. And she has Napoleon extended all the way out and, lit on fire as well. There are no leg days on the Grand Line. I mean, not unless you're of the long leg tribe. That is the only... I think those are the only people who don't skip leg day. Them and Rayleigh. Great chapter. Oda faking so many deaths makes it very difficult for me to feel for Ashura. Love the chapter. Luffy getting smashed into the wall twice and rejecting the divide and conquer plan is so good. So Okiku is responsible for Ashura Doji's death. Indirectly, kind of like how Ava was indirectly responsible for Maya's death in Borderlands. Though people actually like Kikunojo more. Not sure if Inoarashi can take on Jack, especially since he's hurt. I mean, Jack is hurt too. He got bodied by both Inoarashi and Nekomamushi when they were in their Sulong form, so he's not better. They both got healed up. Inoarashi got healed up by the person that was inside of the room with them, and Jack got healed up by some beast pirates around him as he made his way towards, the treasure room. So this is a pretty good chapter. Not surprised by Orochi being alive, though. It's funny because even though Orochi is back, his appearance is easily overshadowed by literally everything else happening in this chapter. Because Orochi used to be, like, he's not like, because he's pretty much, as of right now, he's trying to burn down all of Onigashima while everyone's still in the air, as a way to, burn everybody up. But, everything... Wait, so who was the person that helped him? Was it Enel? I don't know. Because the person What if actually Kanjuro's drawing could change their shape? So make it seem like he was healing all of them? But then again, why would he go through the trouble of healing all of them, only to just try and stab them and kill them later on? So who was that? That person who was in there with them was shorter than everyone. Yet the Odin that appeared was clearly the same size as Ashura Doji. So it's questionable. Hopefully we find out who it is. I keep seeing people say Hiyori or whatever, so we'll just have to wait and see. But all the things that are going on in this chapter easily trumps, seeing Orochi alive again. I mean, who honestly is surprised to see, who's honestly surprised to see Orochi back? I'm not surprised, and I'm just now realizing that my video feed is a little bit darker than it needs to be. Let me just bump it over just a little bit. And that sort of decreases the frame rate, and I'm not going to worry about it. It's fine. You guys can see me just fine. I keep seeing people say it's Enel, even though Enel is just slightly shorter than Kinemon. Oh great, it's like G1 Hot Rod all over again with this being indirectly responsible for another character's death. Okay, so I'm just gonna say this, because there's not a big thing to take away from this chapter other than us finally seeing the Zoan hybrid form of Kaido. Luffy getting, constantly knocked back into a wall no matter how many times he tries to beat on Kaido and Big Mom, because this basically just shows you that Kaido's strength has increased even further. Because when a Zoan user goes into their hybrid form, their strength exponentially increases. So the same strength that we've seen Kaido use in his human form that was capable of knocking Luffy back easily, up until the point where Luffy started using Ryuo to actually get some hits in on Kaido, but Kaido was still capable of delivering even harder hits, that has increased even more with Kaido having a Zoan hybrid form now. So now his strength is even greater than what it was in his regular human form, which is kind of scary when you think about it, because the strength of Kaido was only capable of facing off against easily equaling that of Rocks, Whitebeard, Shanks, Roger, and there was another one, Shiki, I think. I'm trying to remember all the people. No. It was Garp, Roger, Whitebeard, Shanks, and Rocks. Those 5 people. And then Luffy got added on to them. But with Kaido in his hybrid form now we get to see just how much stronger he actually is. Now, I will say this. I am kind of disappointed that they didn't decide to go with like a... Hold on. Let me do this. I will say I am slightly disappointed that Oda didn't go with the design of giving him like a slight dragon snout and then making the rest of him, human underneath, kind of along the lines of what Diaz Drake has for his hybrid form. Just like the top half of his head is Allosaurus hybrid and then the bottom half is human. Kind of disappointed he didn't go that way, but then again, this makes him look more and more like an ogre, like a lot of people seem to compare Kaido to. So it was, it's not all bad, but now we finally get to see that Zone form in action. And Momonosuke being able to sense the condition that Luffy's in. It's either he has awakened observation haki or another aspect of the voice of all things. Because with the voice of all things, it allows you to hear things that you normally can't hear, like the voices of sea kings and hear poneglyphs, but never has it been stated that you can use it to sense the condition of another person. So how Momonosuke is able to sense Luffy's condition, whether he's alright or not, I wonder about that. It's kind of something that's on my mind now. But the big MVP of this chapter is Ashura Doji. It has to be Ashura Doji. Going out of his way, not only getting stabbed straight through the chest, which, for an average person, you would just sit there and slump on the ground. I mean, look at the John Wick Chapter 3 fight between him and that one ninja guy at the end. He just sat there with a sword straight through his chest. Ashura Doji just basically tanked that, tackled him, and jumped outside in order to, keep the rest of the Yakuzaya 9 from blowing up. So MVP of this chapter, Ashura Doji himself. And just, I mean, I've never been a big. I've hated it whenever I see character. Like, here's the thing. I know it has to happen narratively, but I've never. When Pedro died. When Pedro died, it was like a hard for Carrot. It was hard for everyone else, giving up his life in order to protect everyone else. And here we have Ashura Doji doing the exact same thing, giving up his life to protect everyone else from this explosion. Where Pedro did it, he caused the explosion. Where Ashura Doji saved everyone, he did his best to prevent it and try and cover it up with a portion of himself. In the process, it's just self-sacrifice is a running theme for this entire series. Like, you have that moment with Bon Clay going up against Magellan. You have Ace putting his body in front of Akainu's fist in order to protect Luffy. You have Whitebeard separating himself from his crew in order to get his crew to escape while he faced off against the Blackbeard pirates. Pedro versus the Candy and Petals, respectively, in the Whole Cake Island. It's just self-sacrifice is a running theme within One Piece, and not a single one is just thrown out there without reason or just there to give you an emotional moment. It's just like the dude's last words was never insult the name of Odin again, or never. Hold on, let me see if I can actually find that real quick. Never defile Kozuki Odin again, and then he blows up. Orochi setting everything on fire while Fukudo Kuju is execution style shooting gifters who try to interfere. Flying Skull Castle on fire crashes into the Flower Capital. I wonder if Momo will sense Orochi if he knew how Luffy is. More interested in Tama meeting Orochi. I like the idea that she and Momo are the friendship that buries the feud between Kurozumi and Kozuki. I mean, but she and Momo are the friendship that buries the feud between Kurozumi and Kozuki, but Tama isn't a Kozuki, though. I mean, Tama isn't a Kurozumi, though. Tama's not a Kurozumi. Is she? No, she isn't. She and Momo are the friendship that buries the feud between Kurozumi and Kozuki. I would kind of understand that statement if she was actually Kurozumi herself and she just still remained friends if she was. Tama might be, we don't know her history. True, but I doubt that she is, though. I doubt it. I doubt it. But it would be interesting to see what happens if Tama runs into a full Zoan. Because she's only been using her powers against, people with with smile fruit powers. But we haven't seen what happens if she does it to a full-fledged Zoan person. So we'll have to see what happens to Tama later on in this story. But, ladies and gentlemen, that's where I'm going to call it here for today, because we got My Hero to do, and I am really anxious to read that. You like some shot-in-the-dark theories. I understand. But overall, this was a pretty good chapter. It got me out of my seat, even though rudimentarily. So, big takeaways. Ashura Doji is the MVP of this chapter. Orochi is back. No one is surprising. Absolutely no one. Orochi's back. Never heard of him. But then we have Inuarashi facing off against Jack. We have Luffy and all the rest of the worst generation facing off against Big Mom and Hybrid Kaido. And we have Kanjuro out there trying to find Momonosuke and kill Momonosuke and end the line of Kozuki. So at some point, Kanjuro's either going to run into the Akazaya 9 again, or someone else is going to come along and get him. But we are not going on break for this chapter, and I do have to say, I really did enjoy this chapter today. Just looking forward to what else Oda's going to do. Like, were any of us really surprised that this Odin was a fake? I wasn't, because it pretty much just confirmed what I told you guys last time. No one survives getting a headshot in the head, because that's how Odin died. And people were saying, like, well, maybe Toki. You gotta give credit to Orochi that he escaped Kaido undetected. Probably has to deal with his mythical Zoan power. Cut off the head of Orochi, and that means, he's basically like the Japanese Hydra. So we'll have to see if he's actually missing a head when the next time if he goes to his Zoan form again. We'll have to see if he's missing a head. Hopefully. That's just my theory on what his power is. If you cut off his human head form, if you cut off his head in human form, then that's just one less head he has in Zoan form. So we'll just have to see how it goes from here. But overall, pretty good chapter. We'll just have to see where the story goes from here. I just want to say thank you all for coming out to see me today. I wonder if this is actually shorter than the streams I normally do. 36 minutes, still not enough light. Let me adjust. There we go. But overall, I enjoyed this chapter, and I can't wait to see the one for next week. Let's go ahead and move on to My Hero, because I'm anxious to read that. That's all I got. So with that being said, hope y'all enjoyed. Can't wait to see you all in my next video. And if you enjoyed what you saw here today, then consider subscribing, because I am always looking forward to entertaining you. So have a fantastic day. And once again, as always, later, peoples. Why is it so dark? Because it's gloomy outside. That's what happens when it get gloomy.